If you're planning that trip to Barcelona this October 2025, in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down everything that's going on in October here in Barcelona throughout the month so you can make the most out of your time here. We're gonna be talking about some of the best activities, events, and big special festivals that take place here in Barcelona in the month of October, and I'm sure you'll find something special just for you. But before we get too far into the video, I'm sure you've got all sorts of different questions about what to do, where to stay, where to eat and drink in Barcelona. And then to help with that planning, what I've done is I've created the Patrick Guide to Barcelona that doesn't just focus on what's going on in October, but any time of the year that you're coming to answer all of those trip planning questions and take you with me as you're here, or better yet, have you take me with you while you're walking through Barcelona to make sure that you have an awesome time. You can get that in the link below, or you've got the QR code right here. That really is everything that I've learned in the last 15 years of living in Barcelona. So with that guide and this video, October is going to be a great trip just for you. So let's get started. Now, when people ask me when the best time to come and visit Barcelona is, October is always one of the first months that comes to mind. Not only is it outside of that high season, but those temperatures really start to come down. Now, despite being outside of that high season, everybody's always really surprised with how many people still are visiting the city in October. But those temperatures are always pretty perfect when you're thinking about what you're doing in Barcelona. And a lot of times with those activities being outside all day or just walking and getting around, October is prime time to come. It's a very comfortable time during the day when you can be out in a t-shirt, maybe some shorts, probably some jeans, and bringing a lighter layer. It's the one thing that I always recommend coming over in October, dressing to keep in mind that those mornings and those evenings, the temperatures really do fluctuate from the middle of the day. So you're gonna wanna dress kind of like there's multiple days within that same day. But you know that the middle of the day is always gonna be a really nice time. I remember last year, October was warmer than I even thought, so I'm gonna hold off on leaving some sort of temperature for you. And this is usually the part where the people come in with the comments and say that I just need to leave Celsius and forget about Fahrenheit and everything. But one of the things that I would recommend is getting online and checking out the temperatures as close as you can to when you come, so you have an idea of what you're going to be comfortable with. That way, when you're planning what you're going to wear or packing that suitcase, you'll be able to have a better idea of what's to come. And let's be honest, the beginning of October and the end of October are gonna be two completely different things. So make sure that you do bring those different layers. But one of the things that you are going to be doing is being outside all day. That's one of the best parts about October. And with all of the different activities that are gonna be going on throughout the month, being outside is gonna be super important. Just wanna make sure that you're comfortable while you're doing it. So let's get into everything that's going on in Barcelona in October, because there is a bunch. Now, I'm gonna try my best in the video to go somewhat in order with the dates, so when you're planning, you can have an idea of what's going on when, but also based off of importance. So I'm gonna start with the only holiday that's going on in the entire month of October in Barcelona, and preface it by saying it's not an actual public holiday, because this year, October 12th, falls on a Sunday. We're really not gonna see any changes that are gonna affect any schedules or things like that. So you're not gonna have any openings or closings that you might have to keep in mind. But understand that October 12th, as it is every single year, is the National Day of Spain, or El Día de la Hispanidad. And in Madrid, you're gonna see much bigger celebrations with the army walking through the city and all of those parades. But in Barcelona, it's not such a big day. There are some groups that get together, groups that are for the unity between Spain and Catalonia, that they will be marching. They've already called people to get together to march on Passeig de Gràcia, usually finishing up in that Plaça Catalunya. That's gonna be taking place on that Sunday, October 12th. But outside of that, you're not even gonna really know that there's much of a holiday going on. And the big festival at the beginning of the month is on October 7th, and that's the Festa de Roser. Now, September is packed with all sorts of different neighborhood festivals, and October 7th and the days surrounding it, this year running from the 4th to the 12th, is actually the major neighborhood festival for La Rambla. La Rambla is Barcelona's most famous street and really has been just overrun with tourism, but the Association for the Amics de la Rambla always put on a fun festival where you've got all sorts of different activities and decorations along the entire street. This year, there will be about 23 different decorations, which is going to be flowers all up and down La Rambla, especially in some of those critical points. You've got 8 different routes that you can join and follow along and see some of the history of La Rambla, apart from just what it is today, some interesting points of what happened in the past, and there will be 40 plus different activities and things that you can get either for free or discounted prices that always sell out really quick. So get online and check out what kind of activities are going on if you want to join in any of those festivities. And remember that it is running from the 4th to the 12th all along the Rambla, where you'll see decorations. One of the more special events that takes place every October is the Mercat de Mercats. And this is going to be taking place the weekend of October 17th to the 19th. Last year it was over at the Plaza de Catalunya. This year it's moving over to Plaza de las Glorias, the very center of Barcelona, and a plaza that was really just unveiled and finally finished, and is an awesome place, and I think it'll be a great setting for this event. You've got markets from all over the city that come together to have a big offering in terms of food and drink. Some of them little things to pick at, others a little bit more elaborate meals that you can have, but you can get over, grab some tokens, try out a bunch of different things, and it's a great place to just kind of come together and meet and see a lot of different people. Last year I met some subscribers over at the market, and it was really fun getting to talk to them. So if you see me over there, just say hello. But it's always a really fun event that gives you a little bit of a taste of all sorts of different things around Barcelona and get into the culture of that gastronomy that is such a special thing when you're over here. Now, the big event, and probably my favorite, that happens every October in Barcelona is the 48-hour open house BCN. This year, it's taking place on the weekend of the 25th and the 26th, where you've got over 100 different sites that are open to the public. A lot of these places are things that are usually closed and not open on a day-to-day basis, and some others are places that are open, but they've got some special guided tours or abilities to go and see these places like never before. It's always something really interesting to see, especially when you've got places like the Arc of Triumph. One year I was inside of one of the oldest houses in Barcelona, but they've also got all sorts of different visits to museums and things that are going on throughout the entire city. Different sections that maybe you've never been to or never thought that you were going to, and there's even connections with other cities outside of just Barcelona. Now, it's an itinerary that is not fully published and we don't have the full program yet. I always get a lot of messages and comments if I know what's going to be open. I unfortunately don't have any special information, but as we get closer and closer to the date and they release what buildings and what places will be open, you'll want to get online and make sure you're well aware, because some of these places get packed and you will need to make a reservation beforehand. But it is one of the best events that you're going to find throughout the entire month. Now, we've already gotten a little bit out of order, but those are just some of the highlights that are going to be going on in Barcelona. So let's get back to the very beginning of the month, because on the very first day, we've got a big match for Barcelona. So we'll do a little bit of what's going on with the Football Club Barcelona. They've got 3 home games in the month of October, but I'm not gonna say where it is. I've already made enough mistakes in the past videos because the Spotify Camp Nou is still up in the air. But on October 1st, we've got a Champions matchup against PSG at home, wherever that is, which will be really exciting to welcome the Champions League back into Barcelona to see if we can make it further than last year, get to that final and win it again. But you've got October 1st against PSG. You've also got another game October 21st against Olympiacos. That's another Champions League game. And the one La Liga game that is scheduled at home is going to be against Girona on October 19th. The other game outside of those 3 isn't going to be at home, but it is our first El Clásico of the season, which will be October 26th over in Madrid, so it should be a good one. Apart from just the Barca games, we've also got 2 Espanyol home games in October. The first being October 5th against Real Betis, and the second being October 26th against Elche. Not in the city of Barcelona, it's over in Cornellà, but it is a short metro ride over to the stadium, and it's a really nice one. We've got a couple activities starting on the 2nd of October, and the first of them is going to be the International Show Jumping Competition. So we've got a little equestrian sports going on in Barcelona. The 113th edition of this event is going to be taking place over at the Royal Polo Clubs in Barcelona. Now, it's actually a place that I've never been inside to, so who knows if you'll see me over at the horse jumping show, which will be taking place from that 2nd until the 5th. Let's see what happens. The other event that is starting on the 2nd of October, running all the way until the 19th of the month, is the Barcelona Oktoberfest. Yep, this one actually happens in October here in Barcelona. Just like every single year, it happens over at Montjuïc in the Fira. As you're walking over to the mountain, you'll see the big tents and everything set up. You've got all sorts of different beers, German foods and bratwursts and things like this, and a bunch of different concerts that are going on. It's always a lot of fun. Always a ticket that sells out really fast, so you can go online, reserve your group ticket if you want to. There is free entrance during the morning, but in the afternoon you will have to make a small payment, but you can get online and take care of all of that because lines tend to be really long on these days. And not far from where they're hosting that Oktoberfest, still on Montjuïc, but over at the Pobla Espanyol, we've got Bravas Fest back in Barcelona. The first weekend of October from the 3rd to the 5th, go and try out some of the best patatas bravas you can find around the city. It's always a lot of fun. They've been having a lot of different events like these festivals for specific foods in Barcelona where you can try out some of the best. I've already done it for the bravas, I've done it for croissants, I've done it for the pizzas around, but you get to try out all sorts of different places. It's also an advantage to get over and check out that Pobla Espanyol, which is a lot of fun to really get over and spend the entire day at. But what you can do, and one thing that I would really recommend, is making sure you get those fast pass tickets. The line, believe it or not, gets really, really long, and it's so much more worth it to pay in advance. You get a menu of those bravas included in that fast pass, but you get to walk right in. Everybody else that doesn't want to pay before, and you're gonna be getting bravas anyway, so you might as well, is gonna have to wait in that longer line. Again, a really, really fun activity, and this thing has been not only in Barcelona, but over in Madrid and Valencia, and I might even be in Valencia when they have it going on later in the month of October, so I might be able to do it in both Barcelona and Valencia. Make sure you're there. That following weekend, we've got a bunch of stuff going on as well. And the first is starting on the 8th, running through the 12th. For those 5 days, you've got the International Boat Show in Barcelona for the 62nd edition. It's gonna be over at the Port Vell, which is a really nice area just to walk around in general between that Gothic quarter and the Barceloneta. Lots of different bars and places that you can get into, but there will be all sorts of different boats, yachts, and bigger ships and things on display for you to check out while you're over there. For something a little bit different, you've got Arts Libiris, which is going on from the 10th to the 12th over at the MACBA. This is the Contemporary Art Museum in Barcelona, and they'll be hosting this book festival with publishers and things, but focusing on Iberia, Spain, and Latin America. Something a little bit different that you don't always see, and if you can't make it that weekend, they also have a bookshop on the Gran Via. You can check it out whenever you want. And on Saturday the 11th, you've got the Copa del Mon Mountain Bike Eliminator. This is something I ran into a couple years ago when I was walking over to Montserrat, and one that I think a lot of people are kind of just surprised to see. But it is over on Montserrat where you've got a big world competition for mountain biking where it basically just takes over the entirety of the mountain. And one of the cool things is you've got all these mountain bikers coming down those steps on their bikes, just going super, super fast. You kind of get over there and see it and you have no idea what's going on, but it is a cool thing to get over and watch. It is something to keep in mind if you're trying to get over to the Olympic Stadium, the MNAC, or any of those kind of activities that you do have over on Montjuïc. And it's also something to keep in mind if you want to get over and check it out. Now, an October classic and something that doesn't happen in the city of Barcelona, but not too far to the south, is the Sitges Film Festival. This year it starts on October 9th and runs all the way down until the 19th. It's going to be the 58th edition of the event, which is a big film festival for a lot of horror, sci-fi, thriller movies. And like I said, not so far from Barcelona. It's one of the top day trips that you can take. A lot of people love to get over there for what is a beach town, but does offer a lot more than that. a really nice place to get around, walk around, check out some of the museums, and take in a movie as well. Now, what has become another October staple here in Barcelona is Ciutat Flamenco. This year it's running from October 17th to the 26th, and you've got a bunch of different concerts, or even getting over and seeing some possibilities for some choreography for flamenco. It's something that everybody, when they come over to Spain in general, is always asking about, always kind of hearing that idea that you can't see it in Barcelona. There are some great places that you can go and check it out. And when this event is going on, you have even more possibilities to check out not only some modern kind of styles into it, but also some of the idea of the classical flamenco, things of that sort. So it is something that during the entire week, you've got some great options to check out. So get online and see where you can go to find some flamenco in Barcelona. Now, another weekend filled with different activities. You're really gonna have to decide what you wanna do, or really plan well to make sure you can get where you wanna go, because that weekend, that last weekend of October, the 25th and the 26th, has a bunch of events going on. We're actually even starting on that Friday, on the 24th, and the 25th, you've got the Mash Beer Festival, which is over in the Now Bostik, a cool place if you're just trying to see something a little bit different in Barcelona. A lot of graffiti and street art all around in this industrial old center, but it is hosting the Mash Beer Festival, which is going to be a bunch of different beers, not only from Barcelona, but from all around the world, craft beers at that you can check out. They do have food and different options, and there are some VIP tickets that you can get if you wanna get those beforehand. I would recommend that if you don't wanna worry about tickets. That Friday always goes really fast, but even getting over on Saturday, you're still gonna be able to have a great time, and it is a little bit of an alternative event that you can take advantage of. Now remember, it's not just the Mash Beer Festival that weekend, but you've already got the 48-hour open house, which I mentioned before, so you're really gonna have to balance what activities you're doing. But to top it off, you've also got the Barcelona Triathlon Challenge going on that weekend. So if you wanna bike, swim, run around Barcelona, you can join for the full triathlon. There is a sprint version, and this year for the first time, an intermediate event. So maybe that's something to look into as well. And to top it all off, on Saturday, October 25th, we've got Barcelona International Community Day. It's gonna be over at the Museu Maritim, right at the bottom of La Rambla, a great setting for everything that's going on. They've got a bunch of different workshops. Each year, if you're one of the first people to get in there, you get a special t-shirt along with all sorts of other things. But for all of those international people living in Barcelona, it really is a good opportunity to network, learn about some different services that you might need while you're living over here, and really see a lot of different things that Barcelona has to offer. They've always got all sorts of different talks and things. So if you're in town for the event and interested in what's going on in Barcelona throughout the year, check it out. Now, as I always like to remind everybody, in October, we always have daylight savings time. This year, it's October 26th, and while your clocks on your phones are gonna do all the work for you, it is something to keep in mind when you're planning events for the next day. Now, with it being October and us falling back, really gaining an extra hour so you won't be tired, or you shouldn't be more tired the next day unless you decide to take advantage of that extra hour and go out for a little bit longer. Well, you will need to make sure that all of your plans kind of coincide with all of that. And if you are using a normal alarm clock or something like that, keep that in mind for the next day, so you make sure that if you have a flight or a specific activity you want to do, you're taken care of. And obviously, the last thing that's going on in October in Barcelona is Halloween. October 31st, Halloween Day. You've got different activities that you can take part in. It's not such a big holiday here in Spain, but it has gotten bigger over the years. A lot of people go out and dress up, and they're always dressed up with much more of the gorier costumes than we would maybe back in the States, where a little bit of anything goes. But you do have special celebrations, special parties going on over at the Pobla Espanyol, which I would highly recommend. As we've already talked about, a great venue to get over to. But you also have some different ghost tours, or little tours that you can get around Barcelona at night, hear about witches and all the different horror stories that have happened in the past in Barcelona. One place where you can go online and sign up for all of those is the Fever app. This is something that, as a Fever ambassador, I do have a special account where you can get some different discounts if you sign up through my link. I'll leave that all down below in the description so you can find that and find some special activities. And while you may be looking for some other things to do outside of what we talked about in the video, another link that I'll leave below in the description is for Barcelona Turisme, where you have a lot of the different activities that I recommend booking while you're here. Not only are there special discounts that you can only get there, but there are also special offers that you can only get on that website. Those are two links that I would use to make sure that you have an amazing time. And as I mentioned before, if you have any other questions, anything within the planning at all of your trip, remember to get my Patrick Guide to Barcelona that'll make sure that you have the best time in Barcelona possible.